welcome to episode number 15 of the 212 and the 305 podcast. Before we get to my wonderful guest today, just a couple. I'm going to start something new this episode, promoting a local business. My barber shop. They asked me for a review, so I said let me give them a shout out. The Spot Barbers in Midtown Miami are great. Whether it's Alex or Maria or anyone who works there. I actually started going to the Spot in Las Olas, Fort Lauderdale, and now I've been to like 5 other locations, Brickell, and all over South Florida, and they're really great. So if you're looking for a reliable barber, maybe we'll check it out after, Jared. The Spot is a great place in Miami. So we got the 212 Tax logo up today because we're talking more tax again. And I think we have first, a lot, it's only 15 episodes, so first time I think someone's flown in for this, so I'm very honored. Jared Finkelstein.
Thank you for having me. I'm always honored.
Jared Finkelstein. We met through, I think, just like networking, and it turns out we had many things in common.
Many moons ago.
Yeah. So thanks for coming down. And
my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. Just first, let's start. Tell us about yourself, your background, and what you do and how you help people, and then we'll get into some specifics later on.
That would be great. So again, name is Jared Finkelstein. I live on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. It's nice to be down south in Miami because we just got through a pretty serious snowstorm, and what I hear is another one's on its way. So just by way of background, I run a full-service financial planning firm. What does that mean? It means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But at the end of the day, when clients have concerns around money, we're generally their first call. So what is that? Whether that is, how do I protect my family? How do I retire? How can I make sure that all the risks, and sometimes risks that I'm not even thinking about, the blind spots, are addressed? And I kind of view myself as a coach because that's really my job, is to help motivate. And our firm is called Inspired Wealth Strategies, and that's by design, which is we're here to inspire people to accomplish everything that they want and need financially. Nice.
Mm-hmm. So let's start by telling us, I know you have family down here.
Yes.
And obviously you have clients down here. So tell us some of your connections to South Florida.
So as a Jewish kid from the Upper East Side, the natural, progression is as your clients age, right, they tend to move down south.
Some younger than others.
Some younger than others. And I will tell you, what's happening down here is incredible. The amount of young families and business owners that have moved. As a kid growing up, I looked at Florida as visiting grandma and grandpa. It's not the case anymore, and I think that's pretty awesome. But obviously, my folks, they live up in Boca, so I do see them from time to time. A lot of my clients...
Are they here full year, or are they snowbirds?
They're snowbirds.
Okay.
A lot of my clients, not all of them, but a good handful of them, especially those that are very tax aware,
right,
have proactively left, let's call it one of the highest tax states in New York and New Jersey, and have moved down here. Right. So as a result of that, our clientele has flocked, and I find myself being down here more often as a result of that because I'm here to serve them.
So besides, of course, the state and local income tax component, any other differences when you approach someone in New York as opposed to Florida?
Listen,
really?
I think everybody's situation is different. Mm-hmm. Now, I think in New York, you have both, especially Manhattan, you have both city and state taxes to contend with. So I would say, even though we are not tax advisors or give tax advice, that's what you're here for. Some of the programs and solutions that we're able to provide clients really solve some of these complex tax problems. I would say they still exist very much down here.
Right.
They're just maybe a little bit less painful. They're still painful.
Right.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Pain is pain.
Unless you're going to maybe head to Puerto Rico or something like that.
Exactly.
Right?
But it's just far less painful
right,
than say a New York or a California or a New Jersey. Obviously there's the helping people either help on the income tax side, deferring taxes, but then there's also just broader planning, helping people figure out what's important to them, number one, because I think that's where a lot of advisors go wrong, is they're so focused on, look at this product. And what I've found is, don't get me wrong, I am a product geek. I know them inside and out.
Right.
most of the clients that I deal with don't care about the product, right? And I always use kind of like a watch as an example, which is if I look at my watch and it says 2 p.m., do I really, really care how it works? Or do I want to know that it tells time accurately? And we have clients that are engineering types and want to get under the weeds, and I love to do that.
Right.
But the lion's share of our clients want to know if the clock is going to tell the right time. And in our world, that's like, hey, what are we trying to accomplish? And do the tools we have solve those problems? So one of the things I always tell people is like, I'm a problem finder. That's my job, which is, we sit, we talk, we have conversations, we understand what it is that you're looking to accomplish, and then maybe find some blind spots. And it's simply, I joke with a lot of my clients. I said it would be a lot better if I actually had a therapy degree, because I'm doing all kinds of unlicensed therapy.
Oh, I definitely do that. I feel like I'm doing more of that than taxes sometimes. Yeah.
Because there's a very large emotional component to this.
Right.
The behavioral side of people's money is often overlooked, and I do spend a lot of time and focus on making sure people are comfortable and fully understand why they're doing what they're doing. And it's that's really our goal, is just to help.
Nice. So I guess we connected a while ago, and I think now, of course, we work more closely together as the years went on. Of
course.
And we're happy that worked out that way. I also got my license in life and health.
And by the way, I love you for that. More than better.
That's one of my more recent accomplishments in life.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But and of course, part of it, besides why I did it, many reasons, of course, it's life insurance can be a tax shelter and those things, but also the story of how my dad and I've told all these other videos about my YouTube and my marketing videos about how my dad bought me and my brother these cash value policies when we were like 10 years old or around that age. I'm 3 years older than my brother. Mm-hmm. And then we were able to convert that later on, and it's just, again, fortunately, we haven't had to really borrow or dig into it yet. But again, because I have a personal connection to it, and I see how it's a great thing that my dad did for us when we were younger, and that me and my brother have that as a kind of a backup or safety, whatever you want to call it. Again, hopefully it just goes to our kids, whatever. But so I don't know, so again, without getting into very specific products or things like that, just generally how life insurance or cash value, however, just maybe give us a brief description of your view and the different options, whatever we could talk about on this podcast.
Absolutely. So just for proper disclosure, we are heavily in a compliant world. So I am here not to give tax advice, nor am I to give product advice. I think every product that is out there isn't necessarily good or bad. It's just if it's structured appropriately and utilized appropriately. So the key is, again, not trying to put a round peg into a square hole, but understanding the client's goal and then ultimately providing the solutions that the market bears. So before we kind of dive in, I'll talk a little bit about the kids' policies, which is kind of what you alluded to. So I have policies on my two children. I have a 9 and a 10-year-old. When they were born, the first thing I did was bought them a life insurance policy. Oh, wow. Most of my friends are like, what are you doing? You're crazy, right? They're like, yeah, maybe I am, right? But here's this kind of skinny of this, right? Life insurance, I would say specifically, is one of the most misunderstood solutions that's out there, and oftentimes completely sold inappropriately and positioned inappropriately. First and foremost, life insurance is always life insurance first. So there has to be a need either now or in the future for wanting that. When you take that into account, there are all kinds of ancillary benefits that are really, really valuable. So why would me with a good career, money, et cetera, want to take out life insurance policies on babies? Right? To the blind eye, it sounds a little morbid, like why would you do that, right? But let me give you kind of the rationale as to why. So all life insurance, regardless of the type of product, is purchased with good health. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is you have to be healthy to get life insurance, right? The calls that I get inbound where someone's like, I need to get life insurance, right? A lot of times are after the person went to the doctor and got diagnosed with something bad, right? And at that point, it's like,
why would they insure you?
Right. They're not going to insure you.
Right.
So the first reason I do it is I know when my kids are born, they don't have medical history that has developed yet. So I know that there's not going to be information that an insurance company can use. So if in the future, one of my children either develops a medical condition or even just has anxiety or whatever, that can't be
a lot of
used
stuff
against
these days too, just more and more, right?
Exactly.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Exactly. So that's the primary driver. The second is these contracts provide equity. So they have cash value, like you referenced, right?
As long as it's not term, right?
Correct. So a little background, right? There are two different types of insurance, and I don't know if we're going to go into the broader financial planning today, but I think insurance is the foundation of all financial planning. And what I mean by that is you have to like plan for what can go wrong to have the luxury to invest in what can go right. I'm going to say that again because I think it's so important, right? You got to plan for what can go wrong so you can have the luxury to invest in what can go right. And that's kind of the way we think about planning for people. We want to invest for what can go right, but we need to plan for what can go wrong. And so that's really the primary reason is if my kid's health changes. The second is it's never going to be less expensive than when they're zero, right? I think about the amount of policies that I bought over time. The best one was the one that was bought when I was youngest. There's the old, I think it's Chinese proverb where it says, somebody is sitting in the trees today in the shade because 25 years ago someone planted it. And that's kind of a very, very fair comparison. So what I'm trying to do is plant trees for my children. So number one, they have this protection in the future at a cost that's going to be far less to them. But the bigger issue is this cash component, right? So what I think people don't fully appreciate, and there are all different types of products. There's whole life, variable life, index, universal life, you name it. For purposes of this conversation, let's just assume they have their own place for people's risk tolerance depending on who and where they are at their point in time. But all life insurance policies, cash value life insurance policies have, through tax code 7702, the ability to have money grow in a tax-advantaged manner, the ability to access principal first. So the ability for my children 20 years from now, and I kind of show clients this, whereas like if you just get in the habit of putting whatever the amount of money is, the money can be used to help subsidize college. It can also be used to create money for a wedding. It can be a down payment on a home. It could be all of those at the same time, right? It's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. And the one thing that I think is so important about this is that it is tax advantaged, and meaning that the timing of situations is irrelevant because all that money can be accessed tax-free in certain aspects through certain loans and withdrawals. And there are going to be times where taxes are going to be really high and times where taxes are going to be really low, and you don't ever want to let the tax tail wag the dog, and that allows you ultimate flexibility. So just to reiterate, lock them in young. These contracts also oftentimes have what are called future insurability option riders, so they can buy more later. So they don't have to necessarily buy it now. They can get a base. Think of it like training wheels, and then grow into it. The story: my father bought me a policy, and I remember on my 18th birthday, he handed me the bill. He paid for it for the first bunch of years.
Yeah, similar with mine.
And he goes, "Hey, Sonny, this is your problem. This is your problem now." I didn't fully understand it, fully get it now, and admittedly, it helped me buy my first apartment in New York City.
Nice.
So I was able to tap into that.
You borrowed against it.
I borrowed against it. I've since paid it all back.
Nice.
Right. So it's more of a financial tool. Right. And I think it's a misunderstood and underutilized one.
Yeah, definitely.
For that. For proper disclosure, anytime I think about children, I use the airplane analogy. So if you remember, when they had the flight attendants and they would do their whole talk and they talk about the masks and
now it's on the little TV most of the time.
Exactly. But they would say, put your mask on first. Right. I still stick to that.
I still say that. Yeah.
Right. Put your mask on first, meaning take care of yourself. Don't do this unless you have really got your financial house in order. Now, granted, it gives them a head start,
Right.
But if you're
Not the first thing you should do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
Exactly. The first thing you should do, candidly, is make sure you get rid of all your bad debt.
Right. Like similar like the client we were just speaking about,
Yeah.
right, before we got on.
Exactly.
Who, they don't have children, but they seem to have a debt issue.
Yep.
And the reason I brought them up is because why don't we, instead of just all, we can't, no point talking about insurance the whole time. Why don't we talk about a little bit more general financial planning or whatever we can?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because it seems like this client of mine and yours will need that. Right?
Absolutely.
So how does that work?
So we do have. I always tell clients we are very nimble in the way we work with them, in that they can use us however they see fit. So we have some clients where we are their end all and be all. It's literally like, can I afford it questions? Hey, I'm going to get a new car. What can I afford?
Right.
Hey, I want to get a home. What can I afford? And then we have others that are, I would say, more like customers. But one key part of our business is what I call the advice-driven part of our business, which is sometimes people just want financial advice, but they don't want to have to buy something. And I think there is
not to buy. It has to be product driven.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. And I think for better or worse, like there is a feeling that like a pressure or whatnot. In our practice, that's never the case, as you know. But
that's why we get along so well.
Exactly.
I think,
It's all about education, but not everyone does that.
Right.
They're trying to push a product. And the beauty of the financial planning is it's just advice.
Right.
In fact, it is a situation where we will help clients figure out questions that are important to them. Questions like, am I on track? What does my cash flow look like? Am I spending more than I'm making? Where am I putting it? What effects of the money that I'm saving, if I put it certain places, will it have in the future? Can I afford a second home? Can I afford to retire? What if certain, I would say, things that could go wrong happen? What does that look like on the plan? And that's a big part of, a lot of our clients start that, not everyone, but they start that way. And there's no expectation with our clients that they're going to execute or buy products. It's just simply, we're here to answer your questions. So we've got that business. It's a fee-driven business, and we have clients that are uber wealthy that are looking for more like estate planning advice.
Right.
And oftentimes I'll tell you, we are far more business oriented. So by the time the lawyers are involved,
Right.
all those business related things have been thought through.
Nice.
And it oftentimes will save the client money.
Yeah, that's. I love to hear that.
Right. So, like, if you think about it, like the typical thought, and I am not a lawyer,
Right.
and I'm not looking to replace lawyers.
Me
but,
neither.
But because I think they're important and they play a vital role in the process.
Right.
But what I've found, and by the way, if you can find a lawyer who is excellent at doing their core job and also has a business savvy mind,
Right.
hire them and pay them whatever they ask.
Right.
Right? Because it's one of those things that we see lawyers oftentimes collaborate with us because we can bring a little bit more of the business side to things
Right.
to help them within the constructs of what they're doing. So things like getting asset titling, making sure where things are, that if you hire a lawyer, they're going to charge you for that work, right? It's all part of our planning. So then you just hand that over to the lawyer, and now you've saved hours that they would have charged you.
No, that's great.
And we don't charge as much.
Right. Yeah. Us too. I also whatever you can do before you get the lawyers. Like I said, lawyers aren't all bad.
They're great.
Yeah, you got to find the good reasonable ones.
Totally.
Last episode I had a reasonable one, Leslie Morenko.
Awesome.
And I was asked for a couple of attorneys. I was asked for an attorney by a business friend last week, and I gave here are two names of two very reasonable attorneys, and speak to both and make a decision.
Yeah, totally.
But I think that so another kind of thing that just came up actually this week. Like one of my clients down here. Most of my clients are New York related,
Right,
but one of my clients down here, they are actually today executing a withdrawal from the Roth because they have the kids in camp and they have now is a camp deposit time, whatever.
Sure.
And one of the spouses lost their job, and the other one they both lost their jobs. One of them just got a new job anyway. So, but what the good thing that's happened to them, similar to one of my other friends in New York, the whole COVID spike in real estate, right? Because like the friend in New York's in Long Island, house went up a lot.
Sure.
Down here, they're in a suburb of Miami, house went up a lot. So So that's what's happened. So the client down here, he used the phrase, "We're cash poor, equity rich."
Yeah, of course. We see
So
it all the time.
I was just curious. Now that this came up in my head, obviously I'm like thinking on the fly here. But what any advice to people in those situations?
Yeah. So I think that, there's the first question here is if they are very illiquid, which we see a lot,
Right.
A lot of, especially up north, but also down here now,
Right.
where a large percentage of people's net worth is in the equity in their real estate. One of the things we highly recommend is just to explore having a home equity line of credit. Because, don't get me wrong, like the Roth is a solution. However, it's a solution that has opportunity cost of significance. Because once the money's out, it's out. Right? It's not like you can
in this
borrow
case, he was taking only his contribution, so at least there's no tax or
but
penalty.
still, the growth is gone.
But it's still correct,
right?
Yeah.
And so it's that opportunity cost.
Right.
Whereas, theoretically, if there's all this equity in these properties, and I always tell
he already had
clients-
a HELOC, but yes, yeah,
right. So, which by the way, just not that I'm all about the insurance because we are holistic,
Right.
But one of the beauties of these insurance contracts is there's no underwriting. You pick up the phone in 3 to 5 days, money's in your pocket.
So
right?
this word just from someone right here took the HELOC, went through the whole process.
It's like a colonoscopy.
That's the exact word I've used. Did I use that word with you?
I don't know.
I've used that word. Yep, I used that word. I used that word to describe it, and that's another reason why to have what I think these cash values are good.
Yeah,
right?
it's just it's really easy way to tap into liquidity as a result of that. So so back to the guy with the debt.
Right.
We'll work with clients who ideally our clients come to us when they're ready to build. But we'll put the work in up front with them to help them, let's call it, get themselves in a position where they can start building.
Well, that's great that you offer all the different kind of solutions for different people at different ends of the spectrum.
Exactly. It's the whole life cycle from coming out of school to getting married to starting a family to retirement to transition.
Yeah.
We really help clients through that process. And I truly love it, and it's allowed me the ability to develop friendships that I think are not just business.
Right.
I'm getting invited to their kids' weddings, their kids' bar mitzvahs and holidays.
Yeah, similar things happen. I told you that.
Yeah.
The gentleman from California, to keep names out of this, I'm going to his wedding, soon in a few months. Yeah.
No, it's amazing. And for me, I've been so blessed. I have a great family. I have a great career, and I don't consider this work.
Right.
I consider it, a mission to some extent, where I'm just here to help people who want to be helped. And by the way, not everybody wants help.
Right. Yeah, you can't. Right.
Right.
Can't.
Not everybody wants help, and I'll tell people all the time. I'm like, we don't know what we don't know. Right. Anytime I meet with someone, there is no expectation that we're going to work together. The goal of us meeting together is to determine if it even makes sense for us to work together. And if it makes sense, then we continue, right? But like I said, we don't know what we don't know. And if I'm able to help one person, right, it's a victory to get better off where they are.
That's
right?
great.
Building habits, doing the right things.
So tell us, I guess switch it up a little bit. What do you, I know you don't hang out too much in Miami, more in Boca and up north, but tell us about your favorite spots to eat, drink, hang out. You could start with Florida and then go to New York or vice versa.
Okay,
but that is a lot of times I think we've talked enough financial tax, insurance stuff. Why don't we
make it personal? I love it.
Talk about what we both like to eat. We know that.
We like to eat. I gotta. Yep, exactly.
So what are your favorite spots?
So, I talk about this with a lot of clients and friends, and those who know me know that I have a very strong enjoyment of Asian food.
Same here.
And it's as I said, it's like I have depth in my career, and specifically Americanized Chinese food. So I always differentiate.
Okay.
Because there's authentic, and then there's the Americanized.
Sure. And that is a little bit of a weak point down here, as we know.
Yes.
Right?
However, it's getting way better.
Okay.
And I would say there's a place in Delray that I really like.
Which one?
It's called Lemongrass.
Okay, I did not know about this.
It's really good.
Is that Thai or Chinese?
I would say it's like combo Asian. It's like pan fusion.
Lemongrass screams Thai to me.
Yeah, I feel like they have some Thai, but they've got lo mein. They got everything.
Okay, cool.
I'm actually having dinner there tonight.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So in terms of like Miami, like the fried chicken at Joe's Stone Crab, right?
Oh, right,
That's got to
yes,
be my
yes.
like.
That's
like,
my
right.
parents'
The fried
yeah.
chicken there, and it's very reasonably priced. As you know, I'm very. I don't like. I'm very big on value.
Right.
And the value is great there.
Are you into stone crabs too, or not really?
Less so.
It's an acquired taste.
Yes,
Like a
but
lot of work.
And
Yeah.
by the way, my family owns a bakery.
Oh,
so,
I've used them in New York.
Yeah.
The cakes.
So
They're great.
I know a thing or two
Yeah.
about sugar and desserts.
Right.
And their key lime pie is
Yep.
as good as it gets.
And the key thing is if you take it home to put in the freezer. I don't think-
Amen to that.
Leave it
Amen
in the
to that.
freezer, right? Yeah.
Amen to that. So I
I was
say,
never into key lime pie, but being down here.
I don't like key lime pie either, but
no,
there.
it's so good, yeah.
But for some reason, the key lime pie there is excellent. So it's similar to like carrot cake. I don't like carrot cake, but my family's carrot cake, I could eat all day.
That I got to try.
Amen. We'll get you one.
Yeah,
We'll get
I need
you
to
one.
try that because I've done the chocolate a couple times. Have you tried the key lime pie from Whole Foods?
I have not.
So I was having people over during the holidays, and it was my buddy's birthday. He loves a key lime pie from Joe's. I was about to go grab it from there, but I was like running around. My mom's like helping me out. She's like, I'm at Whole Foods right now. I'm like, grab 2 of them. I served it. Everyone thought it was from Joe's.
So it's funny you mentioned that. I have you're gonna love this. So I have a very good friend who's pretty fancy. They live on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, and like you guys don't know me that well, but I'm like the most low key person there. And they have this fancy dinner party where they bring in caterers, passing drinks and hors d'oeuvres and whatever, and they have this like cut up chicken, right? And it was like a fried chicken Milanese, and it was out of this world, right? So I had to I called the friend after. I was like, where did you get the chicken? And he goes, you want to chuckle? He goes, Popeyes.
Love it. They just cut it up.
They bought Popeyes and cut it up and made it all fancy,
Amazing.
and
Love
it was out of this world.
That's great. That's a good. I might have to try that.
It was out of this. It was out of this world.
That's amazing. Like the chicken tenders part.
Yeah, and they cut it up almost.
Wow.
And they served it on a nice
It's
plate.
all marketing and presentation.
It's all about
right?
presentation, man.
Interesting.
So,
so speaking of New York, what give us your favorite spots in New York, or 1 or 2 of them at least.
I would say my favorite spot is my kitchen table.
Okay.
I have an amazing
unless you're inviting
wife,
us all over.
right?
Yeah, what else?
I have an amazing wife who...
I've been to your place, though. I just have to come over for a meal now.
Exactly. Yeah. But,
so you both cook? You and your wife both cook?
No, I eat. She cooks.
Okay. Nice. All right.
And I can't cook.
Okay.
But I can eat.
Nice.
I'm not very good at cooking, but I can follow directions, kind of.
Okay.
So
you're the assistant chef.
Exactly. Yeah. I can I can get the water to a boil.
Right.
But after that, I know I know my role.
Okay.
Right? What do I like in New York? There's so many. So of late, my favorite place has actually been the Crane Club.
Crane Club, I've heard of it.
Which is part of the Tao group.
Okay.
So, Tao, unbeknownst to many, and myself included, is one of the, largest hospitality companies in the world.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, you don't realize what they own.
Sometimes you're at a place like, oh, this is Tao Group.
Right.
I don't think I knew Crane.
Right.
And I follow the industry pretty well, as you know. Okay.
So, obviously, there's Tao, right? There's I think it's Budokan, not Budokan, not Sushi no Saki no Hana. They have, so many different brands.
One of the latest hits is Avra.
Avras.
Yeah, all the Avras.
They've since sold that, but same concept. Yep, they did sell that recently, but it's so they're everywhere.
Right.
But anyway, so this is one of their new ones, and what's really cool is I'm 46 years old.
Same as me. Right? Same year.
Yep.
79.
I wake up at 5 a.m. I go to bed around 9:30. Right on a weekend.
Okay.
Right on a weekend. Going out to midnight's a big night for me.
Okay.
But what we do like is we're still very young at heart, and we love going to concerts and shows. And part of the Crane Club is Tao owns Marquee, which is an enormous nightclub, and they bring in the best of the best DJs all over the world. And as part of the relationship with Tao, those DJs oftentimes will come to the Crane Club.
Interesting. I didn't
at
know.
9 o'clock.
Oh, really?
For the old farts like me.
Okay.
So they'll come at 9.
Crane Club, is it members or no?
They have a members club and then the restaurant.
So you go to generally the general restaurant.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But they have the club downstairs.
Okay.
And they'll get big time DJs, and then they'll leave at midnight to go over to Marquee.
Yeah.
But like the old farts like me get our taste, which I think is really cool.
Nice.
What else do I like? I think the old school Italian on the Upper East Side.
What's your favorite one? So many to choose
There's
from.
so many.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on what I'm going to get.
Right. Okay.
Give
us one of them at least.
So if I'm going to get the gnocchi alla bava,
Okay.
which is basically just a potato gnocchi in a red sauce with some mozzarella, very basic, but very well done. It's a place called Sette Mezzo.
Yes.
Which is, it's
on Lexington?
Yes, it's on Lexington and 71st. It's terrific.
Right.
If I'm looking for something a little bit more heavy, well, not that that's not heavy. It's pretty heavy, right?
Not the gnocchi's
but
heavy,
I'm talking like chicken parm, etc. Huge fan of Premola.
I was about to say Premola. My favorite there is the chicken balsamico.
Yes,
Love
everything's great there.
Premola's
all
great.
These places. Campagnola is incredible if you're looking for fun.
Yep.
Elio's is always a scene. There's got to be like 8 restaurants.
Yeah.
It's like, and one's better than the next. If you're looking for just old school Italian and there's good energy and all that type of stuff.
I also like the chicken parm I love the chicken parm at, maybe my favorite, at Cafe Buon Gusto.
Buon Gusto. We order from there. Yeah.
I love the chicken parm there.
Yeah. They do great. And they're at a good price point too.
Yeah. My daughter's not like it too.
Love the value.
Yeah.
I like Buon Gusto. And they actually have a really nice outside area. Most people take takeout from there or
That's
deliver
since COVID, right? They did that? Or
I think so. But it's
I know because it's a small place.
But there's a back garden which is beautiful.
Okay. I think I went in the winter. That's
most people don't know.
Right. I didn't know
because most of the time we're ordering from there.
Right. I ordered from there for many years without even going there.
It's the best. And it's reasonable. There's also, it's on a similar price point, there's a place called San Mateo where my son loves the
not the pizza place on the corner.
Well, no, that's their like offshoot. They have an actual like restaurant where like my son loves their bolognese.
Yes, I've heard their meatballs. I think are pretty good.
Exactly, the meatballs are great. Pizzas, pastas, etc. But from everything I've been seeing and hearing, the restaurant game down here is
it's
really
getting better and better. Very little to miss.
Better and better. So I think that's pretty exciting.
People ask me all the time, what do you miss the food from New York? And people say that I'm like, what do you actually miss? There's every week or every month there's a new spot. I mean, some close down, but no, it's really getting a lot better down here.
Yeah, absolutely.
From Miami all the way up to Boca, West Palm.
Absolutely. It's it's exciting, right? It's nice
really,
to see
really
change,
amazing down here.
Nice to see change.
Maybe at some point we'll see.
At some point, as I joke, I told my father and mother this today. Like, my youngest is 9,
right?
So that means 9 years before he is college age,
right.
That's when I'll probably consider leaving New York.
Yeah, pretty common, right? Yeah.
I will say New York is where my blood is, right? Some people hate it. My father hates it, like despises it. He I'd rather.
But yet they still spend the summers up there.
Yes, but they stay in the burbs.
Right.
And they try to avoid coming into the city.
They're not to Manhattan. Right. No, Manhattan's not what it used to be.
Correct.
That's for sure.
Now, I think where I live on the Upper East Side. Right. It's like a very insulated bubble.
Right.
But there's the energy for me. I'm an energy guy, and I love picking up on people's energy, and I even bring that into everything I do. Right. Mm-hmm. Which is, I want to just uplift people and bring positive energy and excitement to things, and that I can feed off that in New York.
Right.
And there's nothing like it. I've been all over the world, very fortunate to have traveled a lot, and there's nothing like that energy in New York City.
That's true.
There's nothing like it.
One thing I always say, and I know we're both Knicks fans, no matter if the Heat are in the finals, nothing's like the energy of MSG. I saw you there the other day, right?
That was crazy. It was like
we were sitting so close to each other.
So he texts me, and Neil texts me, and he goes, "Are you at the Knicks game?" Because he knows I'm a fanatic. I go to way too many basketball games. So I said yes, and then he texts me his section, and I'm like, "What row?"
Right.
And then I turn around, and he's literally right behind me. I was like, there's 20,000 people in the arena.
Nothing like the energy of the Garden.
The Garden's
especially
the
Knicks
best.
Pacers, and
especially when they're winning, and it was nice to see your daughter.
Yeah,
and,
I was converting to a Heat fan, but then after my younger one, Kyla, I'm like, I guess I'm a Knicks fan again. Let's see, at least for now.
The Heat they're well coached. Pat Riley's a real deal guy, man. Spoelstra's good. They got a great organization down here. But I'm a Knicks man. I'm a Knicks fan. So. And
Yeah, even if you move down here, it's hard to change, right? So,
although I will tell you, I went to the Florida Panther game last night.
Nice.
And that was
all the
amazing.
energy off the Olympics too.
Yeah, it was right off the Olympics
Yeah.
and Kachuk, it was really beautiful stadium, beautiful arena, great fan base. Price was right, like I was joking with my father. I was like, it was probably 3 to 4 times less expensive than going to the same seat in the Garden. And
a lot of things down here. Like South Florida is not.
That's changing.
South Florida is not cheap, but it's still compared to New York. It's like many good values with certain. Going out to eat, maybe not, but like everything, a lot of other things. Even the Heat games, like it's compared to the Garden.
No, but what's funny is, so I have a very dear fraternity brother from college who moved down here over a decade ago, and he was busting my balls specifically about being the proverbial Northerner. And he's like, "You're making it unaffordable for me here." He's like, "All you Northerners are coming down," and I was like, "You're right, man." Like,
it's changed a lot.
You're starting to see, like, even like the home prices and the. But again, it's all exciting.
And now with maybe they're gonna. Have you heard about the maybe property tax going away? Or most of it. That's it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting, and it's the world's an interesting place right now. So, but I feel like Florida, as a state, has done a pretty incredible job. Getting ahead of things. They've made some of the right calls. They could have easily gone the wrong way.
Yeah, especially since COVID.
Right, but it went the right way. They've been business friendly. They've so it's all really cool stuff, and I'm excited to see what happens in South Florida. And like I was telling you before, like historically, I would always either take a car service or drive.
Oh, the Bright Line.
And I took the Bright Line today. That was.
Well, you still got to get home, but hopefully,
I'm taking the Bright Line home too.
Yeah.
It was 48 minutes.
Yeah, no, I'm happy that.
And I'm like,
out,
there's no chance I could do that.
Right.
And I was able to work. I had my laptop up, and
the Wi-Fi is good and all that.
Wi-Fi was great. It was clean. It was incredible, and I'm like,
a little nicer in the subway or maybe the LA.
Little bit. We didn't have to worry about any crazies or anything like that. Although maybe I just didn't see them. But it was a dignified ride.
I'm happy you had a good experience.
Yeah. Listen, I said to my mom and dad, I texted them. I was like, there's no point in driving.
Right.
Like and it brought you right into the downtown. It was like it was really cool. Like it's going to be game changing for the people in Boca, right? Because now it's so easy to get there. We'll see how that plays out. Maybe they'll expand even further north.
We can go to Orlando now.
Yes. I think it's amazing. It's really exciting what's happening here.
Well, thanks for coming on. It was great having you. And just before we sign off, tell us how we can get in touch with you and your team. And anything else you want to conclude with, please.
So what I would say is the best way to get in touch with me is to get in touch with you, right?
Right.
So Anil and I have had a friendship, a business relationship where we're just here to help. We're here to solve problems. Not big, not small. Like whatever you need, like we're here to help people. Nothing is too big, nothing is too small. It's
never too early, never too late, right?
Exactly, right? I think it's Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's like it's never too late to be how you might have been, right? It's never too late to be who you might have been, and I think part of that is true. And for those that are listening to this podcast, I think the world makes financial planning to be this like daunting thing,
right?
And I'm probably gonna get vilified by my industry. It's not, right? Newsflash, it's not. People use big words. People do. It's really about discipline, and I've been very fortunate to have been given talks to other financial advisors over my career, and the one thing I've always focused on is, look at what came behind you and don't try and recreate the wheel. Right? Everybody does it slightly different, but those that do it the best do it with discipline, and they tend to care.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Right? And what I mean by that is, I gave a talk 3 years ago, and I titled it "Brushing Your Teeth." Okay, and feel like, what the hell are you talking about? Right? Why? What's this guy talking about brushing teeth for? Right? We're here to talk about financial planning.
Right.
And I just asked the question. I was like, "Did you brush your teeth this morning?" I was like, "I know I did." Right? And everyone raised their hand. And I was like, "Did you brush your teeth yesterday?" "Did you brush your teeth 5 years ago?" And I was like, I can make up a date. I would say there's a 99.9% chance you brush your teeth.
Right.
And the real question is why did you brush your teeth? Obviously, it's sanitary, it's clean, et cetera. But the real answer is you built the habit at a very, very young age that you wake up and you brush your teeth. So it's just something you do now, right? And I think if you can build that habit with your finances, it's actually not that complicated, right? You break it down very simply. You bring money in, money goes out. Very simply, less should go out than comes in. Easier said than done.
Right.
Totally get that. But as long as you keep that very simplistic approach, and then also brush your teeth, pay yourself first, is the example I always like to use. It doesn't matter what you do, whether it's real estate, investments, insurance, I think you should do all of it, but just get in the habit on a systemized basis, systematically putting money away for your future self. You will turn around and it's mind-boggling, right? So like there was a friend of mine, he's actually a gentleman from Boca who does a very powerful, successful newsletter, hundreds of thousands of people. And he talked about how if you just took $50,000, now that's a big number for some, right? He's like, if you put like $50,000 a year on average away, right, from when your kid was 3 till 18, by the time that they would be done with college, they'd have just shy of $4 million. Like, that's insane. Right?
Yeah.
That's insane, right?
Yep.
And then it leads to the bigger question, right? And, I don't want to pontificate about what schools are going to look like and whatnot. Right. But, for the lion's share of people out there, right? And I'm talking specifically about clientele that I would say is a little bit more on the higher end. And I'm in New York City where a lot of people send their kids to private school, right? You have a daughter, you have kids who went to private school. The question becomes, is the money that we're laying out for that private school, is our child going to be better served with just shy of $4 million or that degree? Yep. And I think that pendulum, it's a real conversation.
Yeah. Not for today, but
right. It's
maybe not on camera, but I would have that.
Right. It's a real conversation.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not saying you shouldn't go to private school.
Right.
I'm just saying the conversation probably needs to be analytically reviewed.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's a very important thing, and not only for New York. New York is around 70-ish now, 68, 72. But here, I just spoke to someone, and I think the highest ones here are hitting 58. Yeah. Some are 30, 40, but the famous ones here, like Gulliver Ransom, are hitting 58. Yeah. So it's not that different. Going back to the whole 2 and 2 and the 305 thing, not that different. New York to Florida. But
no, I agree. And I think on top of that, you have this. How do I say it? This movement where you used to be able to go down to Florida, and if you were able to write a good check and your kid was reasonably academic, they'd get in. Right. That doesn't happen here anymore.
No.
Right? It's really hard to get into a school here now. And I think it's a testament to everything. And look, the market will change. There will be new schools that get created, and you're going to see how infrastructure things change here because you're going to have a different demographic. Oh yeah, big time. There's going to be a lot more young families. There's going to be a lot more of that, and they're going to have to provide services for those people. So I think it's awesome. Cool. And I was happy you invited me.
Oh, thanks for coming down.
I was glad I was in the state.
First one to fly in for it. So and also first one I've done during heavy tax season. So
well, I appreciate that. That means a lot to me.
No, thank you.
But to Neil's point, if you have any questions or just things that money wise, like that's what we're here for. We're here to have a conversation where you don't feel like you have to buy something. Right? I think that's the big thing. Obviously
communication, like most things in life, right?
Exactly. So, and I view it as an honor and a privilege to help people accomplish their goals. And someone once said to me, if they do really, really well, I'll do okay.
Right. Great. Well, thanks so much.
Well, thank you for having me, Neil. This was really, really a pleasure, and I hope this is helpful to everybody.
No, I'm sure it will be. Yeah.
And I hope you'll have me back.
Of course, definitely.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.